Good evening and welcome to the Crypto Society live stream. I'm joined by Bilo the Bear, and we should be joined
Bilo the
by
Bear.
Bilo the Bear. We should be joined by Frank at some point and hopefully Baldwin as well. Or Bolswin.
Hello, everybody.
Bolswin. Yeah, good evening. Please
Hope
do share the
everybody's
live
doing
stream.
fine.
Sorry, what was that, Bilo?
I said, hope everybody's doing fine.
Indeed. Hope you didn't panic too much in the correction. Small correction.
1 inch.
The 1 inch correction. It is actually about an inch on my screen.
Yeah. So we made a call a couple of days ago citing this potential inverse head and shoulders, which is looking more and more like it will be the case. The technical target of this inverse head and shoulder for Bitcoin is somewheres around 66,000. It also happens to coincide with this rising resistance line. And if we do a Fibonacci extension, it also happens to coincide with a one-to-one extension on this primary leg up. So this would be a 1, 2, 3, precisely a one-to-one extension. So that will be quite nice, and that'll bring us to an all-time high for Bitcoin, which of course would generate a lot of excitement and a lot of market movement. We would hopefully see some consolidation here, which would then lead up to alts following through, starting with ETH, and then maybe the rest, the big caps and then the smaller caps. The call we put out yesterday has an entry of about 56.5, if I recall, and a stop loss just below 55.5. The reason for that is that we are counting on this 200 EMA on the 4-hour chart to act as support, and anything below it, even though it doesn't stay below it for very long, could in fact trigger a sharp decrease in price, because there's a lot of bears out there that are asking and calling for BTC to see lower prices. If we look at the volume profile, we see that if BTC drops to around 52,000 levels, there's really not much support all the way down back to the 37, 38. If you guys follow a lot of the, if you guys follow a lot of the, known TAers and YouTubers that do TA, the $37,000 mark has been repeated quite often, and this is the reason why, guys, because there's really not that much support once we break 47. If we ever do break it, the next stop would be somewhere on the $37,000 range. I personally don't see it happening. I don't think you do, Pumpeye. What do you think?
I don't think that we're going to go that low again. I think if the prices that are being called for that are quite a lot higher for the peak of the bull run are to be taken into account, and we have the standard 80% to 90% drop or whatever it may be, then I think they sort of coincide with us falling back to roughly where the level is now.
Yeah.
Rather than a lot lower.
That's right. So we have kind of like a little bit of a rising channel here on the not channel, but a rising support that I just kind of noticed on the, let me just fix the colors on the 4-hour chart. You see it here. We bounced off of 382. We bounced here, we bounced here. So we're kind of easing our way up towards this very heavy resistance, which is highlighted by a box just to signify that it's significant resistance. And actually the call we made a couple of days ago highlights this as an important resistance, that once we get over it, we should see a nice spike back up. I won't be surprised if we make it above this resistance, and I'll just draw this out for you guys. If we do something like this, come back, and then go back up again.
Oh, that is
resistances
a nifty arrow.
are always tested and become support before we go back up. So this is what I see happening. I think, Pumpeye, you see it the same way. If we start to see ourselves drop below the 200 EMA on the 4-hour chart,
What price
and
is
that
that at?
could be cost per presently it's at 55.3.
Okay, well, according to my weekly channel, we're not going below 55,685.
Yeah, that's great. So that's why the 55.3, the 4 hour.
200 AMA is such a significant support. We've breached it a few times, only temporarily. So you can see we make it back up. If we breach it again and we breach it in a significant way and we stay below it long enough, trust you me, we will be seeing those $37,000 figures. That's why it's important to keep an eye on this 4 hour 200 AMA. So that's how things go for Bitcoin. If we take a look at Ethereum, who has been doing some great things lately, some all-time highs, Ethereum chart just really looks good. Not much more to say, really.
It does
just
look
looks
very good.
fantastic. Yeah. There are no obvious divergences aside from, I mean, the candle is not closed yet. We have another 2 hours for this candle to close. A close at this level could lead to a drop because we do see some bearish divergences, but again, it's too close to call and too early to call, I should say. It's still 2 hours away. When we're in situations like this where it's not clear, we'll zoom into a lower time frame just to see what's happening. And on a lower time frame, there again, we still have 45 hours for the candle to close. The consolidation that's happening here makes it so it's difficult to draw any conclusions, but in this case, the conclusion is there is no conclusion because there is no bearish divergence whatsoever. It's just normal price action. Here too, we see a nice rising support. Hopefully will continue and we'll see something that looks like this and like that, which you can very also easily identify as being a rising triangle. And this rising triangle has a target that is calculated as follows. Somewhere's here. We're just doing this rough, guys, but we're basically targeting $2,300.
So just quickly,
Ethereum.
do you want to just run through what you just did for anybody that's watching that doesn't necessarily know TA,
Sure.
so that they know how to obtain targets?
Sure. So very basically, we have several types of triangles. This one here is a rising triangle for the obvious reason that at the bottom, you're making higher lows. At the top, we have the same level. When you have a rising triangle, to measure the target of the rising triangle, you take the distance, or the price, I should say, from the bottom of the triangle to the top, and you basically just transpose it on top where it should break out. It's very easy in this case because it is flat, and this will give you your target. It's about 2,300.
This is what we refer to as technical targets. Technical in the sense that if it was textbook and it played out textbook, that would be the target. Of course, anything can happen. You could have a whale that dumps on the market, and you could have leverage trading that changes things. But these are called technical targets. We could very reasonably expect that Ethereum will reach $2,300 if this triangle continues, this rising triangle continues to play out in this way. And to just put things in context, if we look at the price change from here to there, I mean, we're talking about 9-10%, which is really nothing in crypto terms. So it's not such a far-fetched target. I mean, you have people calling 5, 6, 7,000. That's just noise.
But once you've got quite a large market cap, then actually that 10% is quite a lot of money that's being moved.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. But in terms of the fluctuation of Ethereum and Bitcoin, we've seen 20, 30% moves in one day. So
indeed,
10% in the context of things is not really that bad. So that's the story when it comes to Ethereum. If we look at the chart a bit more, just to see if there's any other confluences or anything else that we could see that could add any value to what it is that we're saying, just to see if there's some sort of a pattern. Not sure, just playing here. So if I was to draw a line here, just to see if there's anything that matches up, there isn't. If I draw it higher, it doesn't really mean anything. I'm forcing it, so there's nothing there. And guys, TA, it's not like you just spot. You try different things. You try to make different patterns fit. You look for confluences, and confluences, simply speaking, are a series of indicators that all point to the same thing. Either it's bullish confluence or it's bearish confluence. The more you have, the more certitude you have with going into a trade, whether you're on a leverage trade or if it's a spot call. You often see traders going with leverage trades, and they'll say very risky, for example. Why is that? Well, it's because there's not that much confluence. There could be maybe one or two indicators saying that things look good, but five that it doesn't look so good, and they feel like they want to take a chance. Or in some cases, they'll go in and they'll say go at 100x, which is a gamble, in my opinion. No matter how good you are, 100x is a gamble. But
Indeed.
if you have every single indicator out there, every single piece of TA that all pointing in the same direction, well, you're going to feel more comfortable and you'll have more certitude that your trade should go in the right direction. One thing I could tell you just very quickly by looking at this chart, and it's very easy to spot, but it means nothing if we do break out above, is this here is what we call a bearish triangle. Why is it a bearish triangle? Is because it's a wedge that's pointing upwards. So when you're making higher highs and you're making lower highs, resulting in a bearish wedge, a upward pointing wedge, what eventually will happen is, if we were to just improvise, is something like this, like this, like this, like this, until you're squeezed. And from there on out, what textbook tells you will happen, again, you measure it the same way, is this. So you basically ended up somewhere around here. Okay? So this can only change, and I think will change, once this line that we see here looks more like this. I'll just copy and paste. This is more of a rising chart. TradingView wants to see. What the hell does that mean? Okay, it doesn't matter. I'll just draw it. If we see a chart, a line that looks like this, I guess something like this, where it's parallel, we'll make it a different color so we can see it. So, this line is parallel to this line. Now we're more inside of a channel. So we're going somewhere here, then we can come back down, go back up. That's a nice, healthy, beautiful trend, especially for traders, because they're basically selling here, and they're buying here, they're selling here. And this happens very often, a lot more often than you think.
Yeah, it
It's
does.
just you just need to be in front of a computer, watching the market, watching RSIs, watching volume, and a whole bunch of different things to actually take advantage of it. But for now, we play what we see, and what we see right now is, unless this plays out like I'm thinking it will, and we'll just zoom back in again, we do have a bearish wedge. However, there is a bullish triangle here. That this bullish triangle, rising triangle, is going to result in upwards movement, meaning that this line here will end up being moved up in consequence, at least to this level, making the curvature of the price action have more room, because now the pointed part of the triangle, the vertex, is actually further away, meaning there's more room to grow. And the higher this number becomes, the better it is. So that's just basically how we look at it. And when we say potential wedge, it's potential because it's not done until it's done. I hope that's clear.
It's actually not that much different from what Bitcoin is doing on the daily chart, what you're pointing out there.
Let's go back. Let's go back to Bitcoin.
Because Bitcoin on the daily has been traveling in a channel.
Yeah.
And interestingly,
so actually,
I came to realize that the initial rise on Bitcoin was on the 21st of October, and that was the date that PayPal announced that they were going to start doing crypto. And from that point onwards, we started going up.
That is interesting.
And if I just quickly switch over to my own
Go ahead.
chart here, which was
Yeah,
initially
please
kind
do.
of set out as a little bit of a joke as well as an observation. Um,
Go for it.
you can see here that on the 21st of October, prices start going up, and we've been travelling in a channel ever since.
Why don't I see your chart? Hold on a second.
That's right. That's because it's on the live stream.
Okay. I should see your chart though. It doesn't matter.
No.
So you're saying that Bitcoin started to go up on the?
On the 21st of October,
Okay, 21st of October.
there was a fairly significant rise.
And that was around the time that PayPal made the announcement.
That was the exact date that PayPal made that announcement.
Interesting.
It's
I didn't
amazing
know
what
that.
news can do, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure, for sure. One thing though with Bitcoin is the bearish wedge it's there. It's just a lot less significant than the Ethereum bearish wedge. You can just see on the lines that they're more, they're more askew than converging when compared to the ones of Ethereum. The Ethereum lines are more converging than the ones we see here with Bitcoin, leaving Bitcoin with a lot of room to go back and forth before you reach that squeeze vertex of a triangle. But that can change instantly with a pump or a dump. So we will see.
So we've got a couple of
We
questions.
Yeah, go ahead.
One from George S, who is asking, do you think that we're going to have a drop for Bitcoin at 50,000 again? And in my opinion, George, we are travelling in that channel, and unless we break down from it, which I don't currently see happening, then the lowest that we should go this week is 55,685, and that floor is rising every week on the weekly chart. That's just my personal opinion.
I fully agree. I fully agree. In fact, like I mentioned earlier, the trade that Crypto Society put out 2 days ago, we have a stop loss just below that number, which is 55.5.
Yeah.
Just because we don't see it happening, and we figure that if it does go below, it will be a bearish indicator for many,
Yeah.
which will result in many freaking out maybe a little bit and selling. Hope that
Indeed.
answers George's question.
Then we've also got Roms, who is asking if we could review the Celsius chart.
Celsius, coming right up. Is this the right one? CEL, Celsius
that's
Network, right. On Bittrex. So here's, looks a bit weird. It's a little bit hard to review charts that are this new, simply because we're still somewhat in price discovery, which means there is no established support and resistance, aside from this very clear zone here, which you can all very easily say that's support. These spikes here are either very low liquidity or they're just manipulation.
Yeah.
I would probably say more it's low liquidity. It's very hard to analyze charts that are low liquidity. Because if I was to analyze this at face value, I'll tell you that it's looking very bearish right now, simply because there's very obvious bearish divergence on the money flow index, and the money flow index takes volume and strength in RSI into account.
Okay.
It takes how much money is flowing into a certain token in this case with the volume, and it does this calculation. And if you have a higher high on price and a lower high on MFI, it's a sign of weakness, and that weakness is what we're calling bearish divergence in this case. But this is really not a chart that I would feel comfortable analyzing, simply because it's new. And in my opinion, there's low liquidity. Actually, if I just look on CoinGecko, I'll just find out very quickly. If I was to go to CoinGecko and look up Celsius Network, let me see. I can do it on my phone. Do you want to try Pumpy just to see if you can pull up Celsius on CoinGecko and see what it says in terms of liquidity?
Yeah, bear with me.
I'm actually surprised that Celsius has low liquidity. Unless we need to be looking at another exchange, but that's the only exchange that came up.
Okay, social markets. Bitfinex. Hit BTC, Hotbit.
Exchanges. Oh yeah, there's quite a few. So why is it that that's the only one that came up? That's why I'm a bit surprised. But if you look at Bittrex, it's pretty low. It's pretty low. It's $140,000 of volume versus something like Liquid, as an example, has $1.4 million of volume. So I wouldn't analyze this chart simply because it's obvious that there's low liquidity. Let me see if I can pull out another Celsius chart. Celsius.
How about Celsius traded against Bitcoin or Ethereum? Does hit BTC there? Look.
Yeah, but would it give me a good indication? Here,
top
how about
one.
this? Bitfinex. Bitfinex. I can do Bitfinex.
Okay.
Let's take a look at Bitfinex. Okay, you see that? It's a bit better. It's a bit better. So this looks obviously much better than the other one. But there again, it's very new. It's the 25th of March.
How long has Celsius been around? It's been quite a while.
It's been a while, a long time. I'm surprised.
Was it mainly traded on Uniswap before then?
Possibly, yeah, possibly. Let me see if I do this. So
you at the very top.
Here we go. Here, this is.
No, that's cell frame.
Yeah, this is the right
different
one.
token.
Oh no, that's not it. I'm so sorry. Yeah, no, you're right. CL WETH. Here we go. Now this is better. So this is in wrapped ETH. This is in wrapped ETH. So it's I don't personally like to TA against Ethereum, Bitcoin, or any non-stable coin because you don't really get an accurate picture of how well the coin is performing unless you really only care about its performance relative to Bitcoin or Ethereum.
Yeah. Otherwise, you're charting against a moving target.
That's right. It's constantly a moving target. I wouldn't feel comfortable to say, because if Ethereum makes a strong move, well, it doesn't mean that Cell is all of a sudden worth less. It just means that Ethereum is worth more, because it could be stable versus the against the US dollar. So I don't know who asked the question. I apologize. I can't be of more assistance. I don't know if Pumpy, you want to give it a shot, maybe doing it a different way. I'm not.
Also, in my opinion, it's only going to upset you if you're charting it against Ethereum and all your money's in Celsius, and all of a sudden, Ethereum pumps.
That's right. That's right. Because if it pumps, it looks like you're in a loss, whereas in reality, you could be either still in a gain because it did go up against the dollar, or it could be stable and you're not losing anything.
You know what? So, I have someone that messages me quite regularly asking me about various different coins, and I've had him say a couple of times, "Oh, this coin's dumping," and I look at it and I'm like, "No, it's not. It's exactly the same as it was. In fact, it's barely moved." And he's been charting it against Bitcoin. And I'm like, I can't express enough.
To be fair, though, there's a lot. I mean, there's people that I've followed, over the years that I respect their TA and what they do, and they constantly chart against Bitcoin because they only care about Bitcoin. They want to accumulate as many sats as possible, and therefore
this is the only way they look at it. They don't really care about the altcoin. They care about making money on the Bitcoin, against Bitcoin.
Yeah.
So I guess it's a mindset. I don't have that mindset. Maybe I should. I mean, at the end of the day, most people in crypto only know about Bitcoin. Most people in crypto want to have as much Bitcoin as possible. So maybe it is not necessarily the wrong way to look at it. It's just not how I look at it.
So we've just had a thank you for looking into it.
Pleasure.
Rom says it's very very valuable channel.
Pleasure. Anytime.
So
any other questions?
Actually, I have another coin.
Yeah.
OMI, OMI. Obviously,
Yes.
it won't. I don't think it'll be on there because that would be Omisigo that you'll come across on there. I think.
Well, maybe. No, it's not. Not even. No, sorry, buddy. It ain't there.
However, you could find it on Dex Tools, maybe.
Yeah, let me try that.
Now, the chart will not be optimized to the parameters of what we've got set out, just so you all know.
Do you see my Dex tool screen?
Yes.
Okay.
Can you full screen the chart for me, please?
Yeah, as soon as I get, because I can't
Sure.
seem to get the. Is it OMI? OMI?
OMI, yes.
Yeah, doesn't seem to be coming up.
Oh. Let's have a look. Quick.
Do you want to try, Pumpy? Switch over to your screen maybe, and you give it a try.
I'm just going to have a quick look on CoinGecko. Okay, it is on Bit4x, Gate.io, and AscendEX, which is Bitmax. So no, we probably won't be able to find it.
No. Okay.
No problem. Back to TradingView.
Yeah. So I was taking a look at SXP. I had previously made a call for SXP because there were two things that I saw.
This was a while back, like maybe a couple of weeks ago. There was a small cup and handle here, which played out perfectly.
Nice.
And we could see right here that the target of a cup and handle, guys. So let's just draw out a cup and handle just to give out a little bit of education.
Yep.
Is
What tool are you using for that? Oh, we can see here.
So very simply, a cup and handle is a pattern that looks something like this, and hence the cup and the handle. And what happens in a cup and handle is, if we call this the neckline, and it is the neckline, the target of a cup and handle is the bottom of the cup to the neckline and the breakout from the handle. That's basically it. That's
Nice.
just how a cup and handle
quite a big
works. So
move.
if we look at it here, and we just transpose this onto here, we're not quite there yet. But I mean, the technical target is 5.74, and we reached 5.32. So it's pretty darn close. And again, I use the term technical target on purpose, because technical target is bookcase perfect. I don't know what's the word, not bookcase. It's like the perfect world. Nothing happens, no resistance, nobody wants to sell scenario. Okay. It never happens that accurately that you'll reach the technical target, because on the way up, markets move, Bitcoin moves, other
News
coins
happens.
move, people take profit, things happen. But it's not unreasonable to say that, when you see this type of formation and you call a cup and handle, that you place your target somewhere here, and you take profit on the way up, guys. It's extremely important. And if you've seen our calls in Crypto Society, we never just say buy here and sell here. We
Yeah.
say buy here, put your stop loss a bit lower, and take profit along the way. And the reason for that is exactly this. Let's say you had put the target here and you're so sure of yourself, you're, a few cents shy of your target and it just heads back down and you end up with nothing. This happens very,
That
very
has
often.
happened.
Yeah, so it's good to just take profits. Don't be too greedy. Enjoy your profits. Move up your stop losses, and moving up your stop losses is a personal thing. It's very relative to your risk tolerance, and you could very easily be greedy and say, no, I don't want to take profits. What if it goes up higher? I can make more money. I'll tell you from experience, more times than none, this ends up with you losing more trades than making more money. If you do 10 trades a day, a month, a year, whatever you want to call it, you put in proper stop losses, educated, proper stop losses, and you take profit, and you're just right in terms of the direction of the trade. 5 times out of 10, you will end up making money. It's really simple. It's math. You will end up making money, even though you're right only 5 times out of 10. So it's important to take profit. It's important to manage your stop loss and your risk tolerance and enter trades that you feel good about. Yeah, so that's the small cup and handle that we saw on SXP, excuse me. But if you look and we zoom out a little bit, what do we see? We see a much larger cup and handle. And this much larger cup and handle has a neckline in this vicinity here. This is the neckline. And what's the target? We go to the bottom of the cup. Oops, actually, I drew it in a way that it looks nicer, but the bottom is here to this neckline. And we place it at the top. So we're targeting somewhere around $6.67, which obviously is an all-time high, because if we look at the long-term value, the SXP you reached was about $5. And I remember clearly that I sold here and I was really, really pissed off. So yeah, so it's about $5, an all-time high of about 660. You know what? It's not that far-fetched. Seeing the all-time highs that we're seeing across multiple coins, across multiple alts. Don't forget, SXP is Binance supported. It is a Binance supported coin. Binance has ventured into SXP. So, just from that perspective, it has good chances of success. They have their SXP card as well. It's got its own fringe benefits and whatnot that you could look into anytime.
So, Bilo, you'll like this.
Yes, sir.
So you were saying about taking profits on the way up and so on.
Yes.
Well, I bought some STMX, Stormex, and I'd set up a trade. Absolutely lovely. It's now on the screen. You won't be able to see it just yet because your feed will be slightly delayed, Bilo. But basically,
why don't I stop sharing and you share your screen?
No, that's fine. Because currently it's coming through the stream anyway. So if you can see the stream, then you'll be able to see it. But
I don't. I'm gonna just stop sharing so I can see yours. And I don't see.
That's because you're looking at it through Zoom, and I'm talking about the stream.
I gotta go to YouTube.
It'd be better actually if you continued sharing, but from as you were before, but to look at it through YouTube. So anyway, we had a symmetrical triangle breakout, and it broke out lovely, retested perfectly, and we've seen a breakout that happened around 7.5 cents. We came up to 8 cents, dropped back down, retested the top of the symmetrical triangle, and we pumped up absolutely lovely, hit just shy of 10 cents, not 9.9 cents, 9.96 cents, and then we've dropped down, and we've retraced to just past the 786 Fibonacci level, and then we've come back up again just past the 0.5, and then we've basically retraced to the bottom of the pump.
Mhm.
From from inside the symmetrical triangle. So literally
Wow.
we've gone from the beginning of the pump up to the top, and we've retraced fully all the way back down again.
Very
And
nice.
all this time, I was out for the weekend and didn't take profits. How sad is that?
Yeah.
It was a nice. Well, I think it worked out to be a 35% pump in a day, and I missed it.
Wow.
And now it's retraced
Great
fully.
profits. TP, guys, it doesn't stand for
Yeah.
toilet paper. Oh, take profits.
What we need is we need to convince CZ that it would be a good
Yeah.
idea to let people have a trailing stop loss in spot.
Yeah, that would be a good idea.
I don't
That
think it would
would be
work
a
out
very good
favourable for
idea.
him, but
Wow, that's a great idea.
yeah, never going to
Do we
happen,
have any
guys,
other
by the way.
questions there? No, I know.
There
He'll
aren't
never
really
do.
any, actually.
He could-
George has asked, can you review EOS and also XRP?
Yeah, sure.
I don't know whether you're already sharing your screen or not.
No, I'm not. I'll do it now. All right, so we'll start with EOS.
You sharing?
Yeah, do you see it?
Yes, we do. Good.
All right,
Well, actually,
let's
I
see. I
still see
haven't looked at
SXP.
EOS. Oh, yeah, sorry. That's true. I just realized. Here's EOS. I'm just going to zoom out. I always start by zooming out, looking at the daily chart just to see what we're looking at. Sometimes even the weekly, just to get an idea. But the daily here is sufficient because it does not go back that long ago. So interesting. We went all the way down, went back up here. Just by looking at it, I feel like this is going to represent an interesting Fibonacci retracement. Let's just see. And it's exactly 0.5. So Fibonacci, guys, it's a bit too long to explain during a short YouTube call, but Fibonacci is a sequence of numbers that are found, basically they're found in nature. It doesn't really matter. It's not magic. In trading, in anything else, if enough people believe in a technique and use it, that technique becomes useful. Fibonacci retracements are ratios from 1 to 0 of retracement. So when we say retracement, we went from here, 15.6, all the way down to 1.6. And it retraced back up halfway, which is halfway point between here and here is 8.6. That's basically what a Fibonacci retracement tells you. When I looked at the chart before drawing the Fibonacci retracement, since I draw them a lot, I just recognized that it would end up falling in a very interesting zone. It just exactly got rejected at 50%. This is not a coincidence. Enough people trade with Fibonacci, and enough people decided that since this zone here, if it's easy to obviously have hindsight and look back, but since this zone here was a zone of resistance, because you saw that the price kind of, fluctuated and it hung around in this area for a while, they figured that 50% Fibonacci was a good enough selling point. And a lot of people went and sold here, which brought the price back down to form what we could easily call a double bottom, be it a very protracted double bottom, but I mean, it's not hard to see that it is a double bottom. And from there, we're kind of slowly edging our way back up. If we try to find, again, anything that's interesting, we try to draw some lines, see if anything fits, see if anything works.
Before you change the time frame, that
Yeah.
initial drop, am I right in saying that was the bear market drop? The 2018 bear market
I
drop?
didn't even bother looking at the time. So this is, what is this? What date is it? This is 2018. So no, it's not.
Okay.
This is June 2018. The bear market drop would have been
January.
around here. Well,
Oh, okay.
March 2019.
in this region here. The exact date would have been actually March. Where's March? March. It's kind of funny that it's about here. Oh no, 2020. I'm sorry, here. March. Here we go. That's why that didn't make sense. Here
Oh
we
no,
go,
I'm,
right
I'm
here.
not. No, I'm
Exactly
not
here.
talking about the drop last year.
Oh, you're
I'm
talking
talking about the
about
drop
like
in
from 2017.
2018.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Yeah, yeah, it coincides.
And
I mean,
so,
it
just for the sake of everybody knowing how savage that is, what percentage are we talking there?
what percentage drop? It's a lot.
What is it? 80%
We'll do,
roughly. Looks
we
like.
will do a, oops, it's the wrong tool. We'll do the price position range tool. It'll tell us that it dropped 90%. Pretty close, Pumpy. 90% drop. You know, almost lost all its value, basically.
So you really need to take profits, guys,
Yeah,
because you don't want that happening to you.
Definitely need to take profits. So if I was to try to force a channel here, it doesn't really, there's no pretty channel. I don't see anything that I could really feel good about. So then I'll start zooming in and see what else I could see. So we zoom in, and what do we see? First thing we see is we have a high, we have another high, and we have a higher high. That's good. That's a good sign.
Yep.
And now we're going to see, is there strength and conviction in these higher highs? So if we go back to the daily, because now we know what we're looking at, well, we actually made a higher high on the daily, but you see what happened here? We made a lower high on the oscillators, which the market saw and reacted and sold. Now, if we compare this point to this point, again, we're making a higher high. It's very clearly a higher high right here. But once again, on the daily, we'll go back and zoom in and look at the lower time frames. We are making lower highs on RSI, lower highs on MFI, both of which are oscillators, both of which tell us more or less the same thing without getting too technical. And there is bearish divergence. Now, bear in mind, bearish divergence can only be taken in its true form, in its true value, around when the candle closes. We still have another 5 hours for the daily candle to close. So if in the next 5 hours we see an increase in volume to the upside, and we actually break this line, and we go up in this direction, and we see that RSI goes up in this direction, and we see that MFI goes up in this direction, well, there's no more bearish divergence. It's just normal market behavior, and there are no divergences to speak of. Divergences are, once again, when the price is doing something and the indicators are doing something totally opposite. You would expect that when the price goes up, for example, that there's more volume. But if the price is going up and the volume is decreasing, that is called bearish divergence. That's a sign of a slowdown and a reversal. In the same token, if the price is going down and the volume is decreasing as the price is going down, the volume is decreasing, that's a good thing, because then there should be a reversal and it should go up. So these are things that you know, as you look at charts more and you back test and you try to look for patterns and you understand how to look for divergences, it's really not that hard. You'll start to see those things, you'll spot them right away, and you'll be able to form an opinion very quickly if you feel good about entering or not a particular trade or coin. Of course, there's times where you have to look, and most often, I mean, you have to, you know, dive deeper, look at multiple time frames, look at different indicators. Sometimes there's news. I mean, I'm not trying to make this oversimplified, but I believe that any trader that is interested in learning how to trade should really understand how to read candles and how to read divergences. These two are, to me, the most important part of learning how to trade. Others will use, you know, different indicators. There's all kinds of code out there that'll tell you buy, sell. You know what? Maybe they're very good, maybe they're not. I try to use one or two every now and then,
I just feel good trading with volume, candle patterns, and divergences. Pumpeye, I believe you use the same techniques. You have a few other indicators of your own that if you want to talk about.
I do. I have a squeeze indicator on my charts that that tells me when there is a compression between the Bollinger Bands inside the Keltner channels, and that when you see the price start to break up or down, and you've got the squeeze indicator telling you that there's a squeeze that's happening, you can expect there to be quite an extreme move that's going to happen from that. I was actually just going to show on my previous chart on SDMX as well, actually, regarding what you were talking about the divergences. So if you look here, you can see on the RSI that there is...
Should I not share? Should I,
no, that's fine.
should I
Don't
get out of
worry.
my
You don't
screen?
need to
Oh, no,
change anything.
We see your screen. Okay,
Yeah, you
okay.
don't need
Yeah,
to
we
change
see it,
anything
yeah.
at all, Bilo. You can see that there is a clear bearish divergence here between the RSI and the price going from a lower high to a higher high, and the RSI going from a higher high to a higher low.
Mhm.
And so had I been at home on my computer rather than out in Cardiff on my phone and not even looking at charts because it wasn't of any interest at the time, then I would have known at this point that this would be a peak, especially if you take into account that that is a doji candle that's at the top of the chart, that's showing where there is a change in direction. So you've got the confluence of both the candlestick pattern showing this doji and also this bearish divergence, which clearly shows that the price is going to go down after that, which it did savagely. So
why don't you, could you zoom out and show us the 4 hour or the daily on this? Just curious to see if we can recognize some waves.
bear with me. There you go. Let me just remove a couple of things. Can you see my chart?
Yep.
Okay, so actually on the 4
So
hour,
I see.
sorry, on the 4 hour here, you can see that there is the squeeze indicator is indicating that there's a squeeze. Now, in order to know which direction this squeeze is going to go in, you can a lot of the time you can tell depending on where the price action is in relevance to the Bollinger Bands and the Keltner channels. If the price action is above the center, then generally that move will be upwards, and if the price action is below it, then it will be down.
Nice.
Go on, Bilo.
I see somebody's asking about L-Pool. L-Pool is going to be a very tough one to TA because it's new. It's been pretty stable, I believe, at the $25 mark. I don't think it's a good idea to TA new coins, new projects, because there's not enough data on the chart to be able to come up with anything that is meaningful or helpful. It's often very misleading, whatever it is that you're TA.
Do you know the only thing that I find that really works particularly with new coins on launch sometimes, and it's not all the time. Now that there's so many bots that are involved, it completely changes the dynamics of a launch anyway, and also the price action. And because it's bots, it's not necessarily that the whole part of the chart is based on human emotion, which essentially it is otherwise. But I do find that the fib retracement tool helps a little bit, because there are still traders that are trading the launch of that coin, and like I traded the Terra Virtua coin when that launched, and actually from the launch it behaved absolutely perfectly. The fib retracement tool worked brilliantly, so I was able to trade.
So you want to try doing L-Pool on probably on DEX tools, because every time I've tried to TA something new, it doesn't really go for it, Pumpy. Do it on your
okay, bear with me. L pool.
Yeah, on Dex tools. Oko, I don't know if you're aware, but you can actually stake L pool and get rewards. You could look into that if you like. You can get more L pool, obviously. You can also stake Polka starter with them if you have any Polka starter.
Okay, so see now this is an issue for me. Hold on, I'm just gonna have to move the screen over a little bit. Oh. Right, there we go. Yeah, these bot launches, very annoying
Mm-hmm.
for me.
That's
So you
why
see
I'm
this-
saying it's hard, because that initial spike, it's bots.
Yep, over $100.
Yeah, it's tough.
And realistically, sometimes you're never going to get to that all-time high again because
Yeah.
it was purely just driven by bots.
Yeah, that's what very often happens, and that's why it's hard. Like I said, it's hard to properly TA these unless enough time goes by that initial spike, you just disregard it. And you can do that right now, but then it's just not that much data. And I know L pool because I have some. It's
Yep.
just been pretty stable at the
It is
price.
pretty
it's been.
stable.
I mean, you could see it. There's not much to say. Maybe you can add an RSI there just to see if there's anything to see, or I doubt you would see anything interesting.
You could
What happened is
potentially-
that there was a staking pool that launched that I think that the second spike down there, that little hill there on the left, this is where the first staking pool closed and people just sold. And since then, it's pretty stagnant at around those prices, 20-something dollars.
It is actually respecting a triangle here,
Yeah.
roughly. But with it being so new, whether it's going to play out to that pattern or not is
Yeah.
of course
It's
another
hard.
thing.
It's hard to say. Hard to say.
And it's definitely making its way to the end of that triangle.
Yeah. Maybe we'll see something at the end. That would be nice.
Indeed. I'm going to flick back to your screen, Bilo.
Why don't you look at XRP, XR Pumpeye?
Bear with me.
I am a bear.
You are a bear. Just seeing what can close here. Apologies there.
No worries.
Just remove my... I wasn't trading XRP, honest.
I don't believe you.
That was a little while back. So, okay, looking on the daily, that's a monstrous pump, isn't it?
Actually, all we see is my chart right now.
That's all you can see. But that if you look on YouTube rather than
No,
on
I'm on YouTube. On YouTube, I just see my chart.
Oh, okay. It should flick over in a second.
There we go.
There is a delay. You see it now?
Yep.
Okay. So do you know what?
Liar.
There was a squeeze there. And I mean that's not been the catalyst for this huge pump, but it has moved up a little bit from it. Do you know what has caused this huge pump?
Honestly, I have no idea. I'm quite surprised that in today's DeFi environment where everything has to be decentralized,
that we're still talking about XRP, whose majority of the tokens are owned by XRP Lab. Very surprised.
$1.10 highest.
Being an XRP believer,
Follower, believer, supporter. I felt that when the DeFi hype came in, XRP was done for. Obviously not. It's doing pretty good.
So
it was at 17 cents not that long ago.
I've just moved to the 4-hour chart, and actually it's behaving a lot more like a squeeze would here. When you look at the
George is saying that the SEC removed the regulations and that's why it pumped for XRP. It's true. XRP and the SEC settled for I think a few $1 million a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
That is possible. That definitely helped to propel XRP. So yeah, that's potentially possible. Yeah.
Let's see. So
so what do we see there?
We retraced down to the 382. Or just past
so you're at the top of your Kelter channel.
Yeah, it's well out of the top of the Kelter channel. And it's moving with the Bollinger Band. Clearly a fair amount of buy pressure there.
What if you go to the daily?
That was what we were looking at before.
Oh, that was the daily. Okay.
Yeah.
And what if you take a Fibonacci from the bottom to the top? Where's 618?
That's what I've just done. And the first, actually, if that is to the top.
So 618 coincide with anything?
It doesn't coincide with anything after the peak. It does pretty much coincide with the initial drop down, but then if you moved it to the top of the first peak, then that wouldn't be relevant anyway.
Does it not coincide with the middle of the Bollinger Band though?
Oh yeah, it does.
Somewhat?
The middle of the Kelter channel. It does.
The Kelter channel, excuse me, yeah.
Yes,
so what does that mean to you? What does that say to you? If anything, maybe nothing.
Would you consider that to be good support?
Do you know what? With the fib retracement tool landing there, yes, actually, probably would.
So then, to anybody listening, 0.77, around 0.78 cents should be a good support for XRP. So, assuming there's a dump, it will be a good place to put some buy orders and just wait it out.
If you want to trade XRP.
If you want to trade XRP.
So I've just changed to the hourly.
There's a bit of a lag. I still see the 4 hours.
So the bottom Bollinger Band on the hourly falls just above the 0.5 as well.
I still see the 4-hour chart. Don't know why.
Oko has asked maybe Ocean afterwards.
Yeah, sure.
So on the hourly, currently we've had a lower high, and then if we break, what are we looking at here? $1.02, which actually isn't very far away. We're at 101. Oh, 102. Oh, 102, 172.
Well, what's interesting, Pumpy, is if you look at
the bottom wick candle on the left.
Yeah.
Just go to the left.
Here.
The other left.
The other left. You mean the red candle?
Yeah, the red candle with
Yeah.
the bottom wick.
Yeah.
Can you just point to it?
Yes.
No, to the left. The red one. Left.
Remember,
more?
there's a delay.
Oh, okay. Left.
I'm left. I think I'm on the
More.
one that you mean. The one with the nice
No,
big
the other
tail.
one. The other one to the left. Even lower.
Okay.
No. I don't see dates, so it's hard for me to tell you, but it's the one at around 0.618.
Okay. Oh, that was what I was looking at. That was what I was
That
looking
one, that's it.
Yeah.
Draw a line from this one to the other low. Just like to show everybody an example of bullish divergence.
There you go. I've already marked it out on the RSI as well. Not that you can see that.
I can't, no. Is it
Okay.
normal to have that line?
Is it normal to what? Sorry, have the lag? Well, there is a
To
lag
have the
between
lag.
us and YouTube. Yes,
Oh, okay.
there always will be. Oh wow! So this hourly candle is just for a moment then was actually quite volatile. It went from, it's currently a higher high because we had a higher low and then we had a lower high and then now we've had a higher high. But it
So
just went.
what
but
we're
it just went
seeing-
from green to red and dropped down, wicked to the middle of the Keltner channel, and then came back up again in a split second. You might see
Wow.
it happen in a minute.
What we're seeing right now, what Pumpeye drew right now, is if you look at the price action and you look at the lower side of the price action, so we made a higher low, and on RSI we made a lower low. This is bullish divergence. Okay, this is exactly what bullish divergence is, and you can tell and you can see right away. You have multiple reasons to believe it's going to go up at that point. You have the bullish divergence, but you also have what's called tweezer bottoms. Tweezer bottoms is when at the bottom of a trend, you see two candles with wicks to the bottom shooting upwards. These are called tweezer bottoms, and it's usually a bullish sign and a sign of reversal, especially if it coincides with other confluence indicators, such as in this case, the bullish divergence that I just explained.
And just so you all know, it doesn't matter whether those candles are red or green. It's the shape and formation of them, and the fact that the bears clearly couldn't keep the price down low, so the bodies aren't thick. The bulls have pushed the price back up again, and it's irrespective of whether the candles are red or green or not.
Yeah.
So you can have a red
All
candle
right.
with a long tail, and it still be bullish because it's a tweezer bottom.
That's true. You want to move on to ocean?
Yep. I have a little bit of ocean.
Everybody does, I think.
Is that since the AMA, do you think?
Yeah, I think way before. Everybody loves ocean.
Okay, let's go to the daily. Oh, the daily's looking nice.
I'll wait for the
Yeah.
chart to load.
So, straight away, I can tell you that we've got some bullish divergence on the daily. We'll go from there. Okay, so we've got bullish divergence on the daily. We have started going up as well, so there is Obviously, if you were charting this in real time, then you wouldn't already have this proof of the pudding, if you like. We've got a squeeze that's happening, which actually looks like it could potentially be firing upwards as we're above the centre of the Bollinger Band. The Bollinger Bands are already splaying out, so that would signify to me that it is currently starting to fire. So we could see some very nice price action on Ocean over the next few days.
Agreed. The bullish divergence you're showing actually started playing out too, right?
Yeah.
Just out of curiosity, if you was to draw a Fibonacci from the bottom to the top,
From the
where
bottom,
did we bounce off of?
from where the
Where you
divergence
started
starts.
where you started your lower low on the price action.
The other candle is literally just above the 618.
Yeah.
And then where we've come up and then dropped back down again, we've bounced off the 382
Mm-hmm.
and then are heading back up again. And obviously with the way that Bitcoin's dropped down a little bit today, we've had a bit of bearish action today, but we've moved back up again.
So to analyze what's happening now, you want to go into the 4 hour and see what's happening?
Yep. Okay, so we've literally just been disrupted here by Bitcoin's negative price action earlier and started heading back up again.
Mm.
So this nice bit of green candle action right at the end here on the right, that is literally just the last 15 minutes. So there's quite a bit of buy pressure. As it's 8:15 now.
Very nice.
What do you see, Bilo?
I see what you see. It's pretty good. Looks pretty bullish. I'm expecting a higher high here.
Yeah, me too.
There's quite enough room in RSI for it to go up without creating any divergences. So
I'm just quickly going to flick over to Bitcoin just to see what's going on with Bitcoin. Okay, so on the hourly, tiny little bit of red, nothing major.
no, the chart looks good. There's no nothing negative really.
Yeah, very nice. Someone's asked for Filecoin. Let's have a look. It keeps reverting back to STMX just to wind me up.
You forgot about me.
Look at your profits gone. How dare you go away for the weekend?
Seriously, how dare you? What's wrong with you?
Okay, so Filecoin. We'll have a look at the daily first. So that's a good tip for everyone anyway, to always look at the daily first or the weekly first, depending on how long you've got of history for that coin, because you can see the overall trend a lot clearer on the daily.
The trend is your friend.
The trend is your friend. Let's see. Okay, so Filecoins, I mean, we're being asked for TA on Filecoin, but Filecoin's just had a massive pump. I mean, daily wise, starting on the 13th of March, so less than a month ago, we were at $44 and we peaked out a few days ago at 238. So, I mean, unless it's the never-ending story, and it's just going to keep going up and up and up and up, then you can expect at this point, with it having peaked out, and with that massive wick at the top of the, wick at the top of the candle here on the 1st of April, there was obviously a lot of sell pressure at that point, which would indicate to me at this point that what you're going to see is either a fair amount of consolidation, or you're going to have some downwards action for a bit. I mean, if we take the fib retracement tool and just go here to the peak, we are currently at the 382. So I mean, there is a chance that, I mean, there's a tiny, tiny, tiny bit of wick there on the bottom of this candle. So there is a chance that we might bounce off here and bounce around that sort of level for a little while before making a decision on whether we're going to go up or down. But we have broken the initial trend by the looks of it.
Nice.
If we go to the 4 hour. Yeah, it's a lot clearer on the 4 hour. So I mean, there are these people that have got what's that, a 5x under their belts, 6x under their belts, from the start of this pump, that are going to be wanting to take their profits at this point, or wanted to at the point where we went up.
They probably started taking profits.
Yeah.
Because this looks like the end of wave 5, technically. You're in correction ABC here.
I'll tell you something
That's
hilarious,
why
Bilo, is that
Yeah.
I was trading Filecoin back in October or November, and not long after its first release, actually. And was it first release? No, I don't know. But it was. I think it was the point where it came onto Binance anyway. And I was told at that point that Filecoin was overvalued when it hit $30.
Yeah.
And we've
told
just
you
hit
that?
238. It was a guy.
Who told you that?
It was not in Crypto Society.
Let's put his name out there on live YouTube.
His name was Derek.
Give us his name, his phone number.
His name was Derek. And yeah, he told me that it was overvalued at $30.
Oh boy.
Well, it turned out the market said no. So, also, we have a squeeze on the 4 hour, and that is actually starting to play out by the looks of it. I don't know whether we'll find that the 382 will provide adequate support or not, but I don't think it will. The Bollinger Bands have started splaying out, and price action has started going down. We've already gone past the trend line, so actually I think there's a good chance that we might see a bit further negative action here. We could end up down on the 0.5. Let's have a quick nose at the support. I can't see there being a lot of support.
Yeah, I think you might see a bit more of a correction here.
Yeah. And I mean, realistically, our first proper support is at $127, where there's any kind of realistic support.
Yeah. So whoever asked the question about Phil,
yeah, it wasn't Phil.
when you own it,
it wasn't Phil that asked about Phil.
Who asked it? Was it Phil?
It was Bez Magno.
Bez Manuel. Look, when you're in a leveraged position, you lose everything. When you own the coin, worst case that happens is the coin loses value, but eventually, if it's a good project, it goes back up.
This is a good project. I think you just heard Pumpeye tell you it's a good project as well. Many people believe it's a good project. I don't personally know enough about it, but I've heard many shill it, and not just to shill it, but to actually emphasize the good things that the project aims to achieve. So it can go down here. That's my opinion. It can go down a bit more, but it's nothing to panic about unless you're someone that day trades and you get in and you get out. You're okay to just hold it. If you want to kind of, sell and buy cheaper, this might be an opportunity right now. Not financial advice.
Well, that's the other thing is that, I mean, when you buy the top or you buy somewhere higher up, then you don't necessarily need to sit and just hold that coin until the point where you might go beyond that price again. You could keep watching the chart and find areas of support and resistance and trade that coin to build up the amount of that coin that you've got, which lowers your dollar cost average price as well. So it ends up that you don't have to keep buying more of it, but you can sell what you've got, even if you're selling at a bit of a loss. You can sell what you've got and then trade it again, buying it back at a lower point, and so on and so forth, and keep bouncing backwards and forwards. Obviously, if you have the time and the inclination to.
And the testicular fortitude.
Sorry?
I said, and the testicular fortitude.
Indeed.
I'd just like to go back for a second to Ocean, if you don't mind, just to take me back to my chart.
Sure. Ashraf's just said, Pumpeye, let's start trading Alchemix. Brilliant. Right, we're back on you, Bilo.
Am I? Okay.
Yeah.
Is my chart there?
Yes.
Because I don't see it on YouTube.
That you won't do for it's probably about 30 seconds that we're out.
30 seconds, okay. That's 25 seconds longer than usual for you, so that's good. We kid around, guys.
That's due to my heavy investment in 1 inch.
Oh shit! We're gonna get in trouble. Okay. Let me know when my chart pops up.
It's up.
Okay. So just some observations for Ocean, and I'm just in full disclosure, I'm a long time Ocean holder.
Can't tell by your chart.
Holding it. I've been holding it for some time. Anyway, Ocean's just, it's done quite the run. Obviously, it's doing very well. More news, more partnerships, more marketplaces, and it's doing what it's supposed to. That being said, we have this rectangle here, this red rectangle, that is quite important to overcome. We've tried here, we've failed. The good news is that it didn't fail because there was a loss of interest. It failed more out of, I think, an abundance of caution. And why I say this is because there are no bearish divergences that I can see, at least in this time frame. I don't see it failing here because of bearish divergences. See, if it failed because of a bearish divergence, you can tell yourself, you can explain to yourself that there's just no interest anymore. There's no buying power. Even if the price is going up, it's going up without the volume to sustain the continued growth. But if you see it go up and you see the RSI go up with it, and then you see it just come back down, it's just a normal market cycle where people take profits, A, because they just want to, or B, because they're up against resistance and they figure it's a good place to take profits. Typically, when we put out a call, most traders, when they put out a call, they have take profits, TP1, TP2, TP3, and so on. Taking profits and the locations where you decide to take profits, they're actually resistances. You're not taking profits where you expect the coin to continue going up. you're taking profits where you expect the coin to meet some sort of a resistance. So I try to put my take profit zones just a little bit under where I expect that the coin is going to struggle to get beyond. So it's very usual to see people taking profit on this red triangle. Red box, because it's been rejected here quite a few times. But my opinion right now, looking at this chart, is that it's maybe going to get rejected one or two more times, but it's very obvious that we have a rising triangle here. It's going up. It will squeeze somewhere in this zone. Could be before. We also have a channel. If we zoom in, it's not a very meaningful one. We have 3 points of contact at the bottom, 2 points of contact on top. Again, there's really nothing bearish about this chart. So yeah, I'm pretty bullish on Ocean, just to reinforce what Pumpeye was saying. Yeah, was there any other requests?
Well, I'm actually just gonna. Do you know what? There's a few people watching, not loads, but there's a few people watching. Karate Schnitzel, have you got any Binance listed coins or any central exchange listed coins that you would like some TA on?
Are you asking somebody something?
Yeah. I was asking one of the people that's watching who's just said hello.
Okay.
I'm also actively watching this Filecoin chart to see whether it goes below the 382.
MRX is welcoming female fake accounts in Crypto Society.
TA on Super would be nice.
So is that Super Farm?
Yeah, it's on Binance
I'm
now.
guessing that's Super Farm. Okay, let's give it a shot. I have not TA'd it before. Super. That's a sad-looking chart. Yeah, I just feel sad right now.
That does actually look sad, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It looks pretty sad.
Is it just me, or does that actually look like a Head and Shoulders?
Yeah,
Kinda.
you could kind of maybe,
Like a shallow sort of, nearly.
You could try to.
You could try and force it.
Kind of shade. Yeah, here, kind of.
Which would
And
unfortunately mean.
And if this Head and Shoulder plays out, let me shock everybody here.
That it's going to look
price
even
of
more
Super,
sad.
ladies and gentlemen, will become 50 cents. Yeah. No, I don't know. Again, new coin, new project, has a lot of aspirations, a lot of hype, which obviously has died down somewhat. I mean, yeah.
I'm actually quite surprised that it's dropped in value. It pumped up a bit because they had their NFT platform release.
We do see some bullish divergence.
Oh, thank God for that.
Right here on the 4 hour, and again, bearing in mind, I really don't know how valuable it is to chart something this new, but there is some bullish divergence. We see that we did bounce from this bullish divergence.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't bounce enough because we are making our way back down. If we go into lower time frames just to see if there's anything else that we're seeing, excuse me for a second.
Come on, Elio, you need to get your coin pumping.
Let me see on a lower time frame what happens. Yeah. So on a lower time frame, we could kind of draw the same conclusions. Yeah, just really not easy to chart these kind of, just to see. I mean, there's not much in terms of value there. Maybe something here about the 618, but yeah. Sorry, who asked this? I think it was Karate Schnitzel.
Yeah.
Sorry, buddy. It's really tough to chart and to do TA on these new coins. There's very little historical data. There's very little support. I mean, you
Basically,
could argue that this is support here. You could have argued this is where it should have stopped because this,
yeah.
let me just draw it for you. This should have been, where it went, but it didn't. It continued. Oops, excuse me. It continued lower. I mean, let's try to see what's the significance of this line here. You see this very often in these kind of situations where it just doesn't mean much. There's nothing speaks to me at this level. There's no reason why it went to this level other than it just went to that level. So when I say that it's hard to TA newer coins with little data and little charting, it's purely hype and gut that's driving the price up and down at this point, in my opinion. Could be wrong, just how I view things. And that's about it. Yeah.
MRX has written, before I go, Mark has just contacted me. He cannot write in the chat, in the chat. He wants TA
Hold on. Let me guess. Let me guess what Mark wants. Mark is number one.
He's
right?
also said that. By the way, Mark is number one. He's asked for TA on hot.
Hot?
Yes.
He's so dirty-minded.
Do you know what? I am so gutted that I didn't buy hot. I didn't really know anything about holochain, and I think I asked a couple of places whether anybody knew anything about it because I thought that it was so absurd.
Hot as in hollow, right? Hollow?
Yeah, holochain, yeah. No, hot as in HOT. Yeah. Oh, yeah, no, it is hollow, yeah. So...
That is quite the start.
Okay, so holochain... What's the...
Let me just try to do something here. I'm just going to try to see if I can make sense of this with some Fibonacci. Not Fibonacci. What do you call that other guy?
Elliott waves.
Elliott waves, that's it. So Elliott wave theory is basically a theory that says every market moves in cycles of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are about 1,232 different rules and conditions, some of which contradict each other, but if you know all these conditions and rules, you can predict what might happen pretty much 80% of the time. It's really complex. I know the basics. I don't know the complexities of it, but I could tell you that this is an extended third wave. An extended third wave, typically it's parabolic, and we see that the third wave is parabolic, and parabolic is referring to the shape, which if I was to make an attempt at drawing this parabolic shape, it would be something like this. So it's like a bit of a parabolic shape. We'll change the color so you can see it. Make it white. Nope. Make it orange. Nope. Make it, what are we gonna make it? Here, let's make it this color. No, that doesn't work either. I'll just go back to white. So when this happens, you're gonna usually have a hard correction. When you have a parabolic extended wave 3, you usually will have a hard correction after wave 5 ends. Typical Elliott wave looks something like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then it culminates with an ABC correction, such as this, A, B, C. And then so on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, continuing up, or it could just go back down. What's also good to know in Elliott wave is that typically wave 3 is never the shortest wave. It can never be the shortest wave. That's one of the most basic rules. But like I said, there are several types of Elliott waves, 555, 535, leading diagonal, ending diagonal, and each comes with its own set of rules, and then everything goes out the door. If you're in leverage trading, it makes it more complicated. But for those who master it, typically they're
They do very well, and they're typically hired by hedge funds and firms, and they're paid very well. This is called a corrective wave. Waves 2 and 4 are corrective waves, and waves 1, 3, and 5 are impulse waves. Waves 1, 3, and 5 also consists of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves. I'll change the degree so you can just get the picture.
This is very pretty.
So wave, yeah, and then wave 2 is a corrective wave, and a corrective wave is an ABC. So A, B, C. I'll change that as well so it's minute. And you could do this forever, because if I zoom in here, if I zoom in, even though this was wave 1, and then there's a subwave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, this subwave 1 of wave 1 also has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you could see, like, you know, gets quite complex. Why am I saying this? Why am I explaining all this? It's because here I can identify 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 3 being this long and parabolic means it's an extended third wave. It's not supposed to be this long relative to wave 5. Wave 1 to 2 is pretty standard, but the proportion of wave 3 to wave 5 makes it look like wave 3 is extended, and the shape of it is parabolic. This typically means you're going to have a hard drop. So what's a hard drop? A hard drop is relative, but if we take just a Fibonacci extension from 4 to 5, we've gone down close to 88% from wave 4 to wave 5. And this is not over, because remember, after wave 5, what we have what's called an ABC correction. So really what we're looking at right now is this is A, this is probably B, and C is going to be somewhere around here. And this is me looking at this very quickly, not analyzing it in depth, not making sure that I actually have 5 waves, because wave A has 5 waves, waves B has 3, and wave C has 5 waves. But because of this parabolic nature of wave 3, I think there's more downside to come. At the very least, it will revisit this 200 EMA, which seemed to act as support. I'll just remove all the clutter this way. It seemed to act like decent support. So at the very least, we should be revisiting around this area, 19 cents. So I would not enter along here. If you already own it, you could, like I said, you have 2 choices. You can hold it and you own the coin. Worst case scenario, the coin is worth less until it starts to be worth more. If you're a leverage trader and you want to go long, I don't recommend you go long here because we're inside a correction. If you're a leverage trader and you want to go short, I would enter a short position here. I would put a stop loss just above 55 EMA, which is about 25 cents. We're at 23 cents right now. And I would put I would take profit somewhere at around 19 and a half or 20 cents. It's like it's a scalp trade. It's a quick scalp trade. If you want to do this, please make sure you know what you're doing. You know how to trade futures. You know how to do stop losses and take profits, and you know and understand how to manage your risk. And as usual, only trade with what you can afford to lose. That's about it. But yeah, it's quite the run. Nice run. Unless there's anything else, I think with that we could call it a day. Unless Pumpeye, you have something you want to discuss. Oh, you know what? We forgot to talk about Bitcoin dominance.
We did indeed.
So last time we had a TA call. Actually, every time we have a TA call, we talk a little bit about Bitcoin dominance. So Bitcoin dominance is the percentage of money that's in crypto, all of crypto. How much of that is allocated to Bitcoin versus all the other coins? So if you put all the money that's being spent in crypto into 2 baskets, one of them being BTC, the other one being all the rest, that's what BTC dominance is. BTC dominance currently is standing at 56.6%, which means 56.66% of all the money invested in crypto today is invested in Bitcoin. The remainder is in alts. That's all it means. The higher this number, the more the more Bitcoin movements dominate the market. The more when Bitcoin crashes, everything crashes with it. The more Bitcoin takes money away from alts. The lower the number is, the lower Bitcoin dominance is. It's the opposite is true. Alts are receiving more attention. There's more investment going into alts. There's more money flow going into alts, and therefore alts will generally do well and will pump, at least the good coins. The shit coins too, to be honest, but the good coins will pump even more. And this is why we refer to either the Bitcoin or an alt season. So we're at the borderline here where we're between a Bitcoin and an alt season. The opinions vary in terms of when you call it alt and when you call it Bitcoin season. You ask 5 different people, you'll probably get 5 different answers. But in my opinion, we're headed into alt season right about here. Once we get below 50, 52, because if you look at the traditional regions where Bitcoin has traded, it's been above this line most of the time. So once you start to get below this line, which we are right now, but this is an important consolidation area. Let me just draw a little square to highlight the area. Oops, all that came back. I'll take that away. Once we get over this area here, which you could see there's a lot of stuff happening in this area. Once we get below this area, I could safely say we're in alt season. In fact, I'm thinking that, I think we all are thinking that somewhere around 40% is the ideal target for us to call ourselves as being part of alt season and seeing all the altcoins that we so love moon in the moon sense of the word, like not just 10% or something. Huh?
How did that go? The moon.
How did that go? Moon. Yeah. So yeah, that's it, guys. That's all I have to say. I don't know if Pumpeye has anything else to say.
No, I'm good.
Thank you for your attendance. We appreciate your support. Please follow us on YouTube. Press the like button, subscribe, so you can get notifications every time we are up here. We have also some very interesting educational videos that our very own Borg brain took the time to do. From staking to making wallets to setting up nodes to, I mean, so many things and so many things you can learn from Borg. In his videos, he really takes the time and puts in the effort to make sure that they're very well explained. Join us in our future calls. Hopefully we'll announce some more coming up. And thank you for supporting us and happy to have you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, guys.
Bye. Good night.
Good night.